Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. As a part of English literature series, today's our video is about exploring the world of poetry, and in this video we are going to talk about 32 types of poems that you need to know. We are going to discuss in detail about every type of poetry, and this is going to be the ultimate poetry guide for the English literature students who are preparing for UG sonnet English literature or any set, that is state eligibility test, and also MA English students. And this is also going to be useful for the candidates who are preparing for various jobs related to English literature. Let's start the video. As we all know, poetry is nothing but which is written in verse form, and in poetry poets use rhythm, imagery and figurative language. In this poetry or poems, the poets expresses their emotions and imagination. And here you can see the types and forms of poetry: sonnet, ode, ballad, free verse, haiku, tanka, ghazal, elegy, pastoral, that which is pastoral elegy, satire, limerick, acrostic, concrete poetry, narrative poetry, epic, mock epic, cinquain, diamante, couplet, tercet, quatrain and quintain, sextet, septet, octave, epigram, epitaph, inscription, invocation, prothalamion, epithalamion and masque. These are the 32 types of poetry forms: sonnet, ode, ballad, free verse, haiku. We are going to discuss in detail about each and every type and form of poetry. So it's better if you take down these notes, these 32 types and forms of poetry. Then we are going to discuss in detail about each and every type. Yes, sonnet, ode, ballad, free verse, haiku, tanka, ghazal, elegy, pastoral elegy, satire, limerick, acrostic, concrete poetry, narrative poetry, epic, mock epic, cinquain, diamante, couplet, tercet, quatrain and quintain, sextet, septet, octave, epigram, epitaph, inscription, invocation, prothalamion, epithalamion and the final type, that is masque. Now we are going to discuss about in detail about each and every type. Yes, here we have a small reminder. As we all know, our channel is dedicated to only English and English literature. So the candidates who are interested in English literature, for getting more updates and for getting more information related to English literature, subscribe to our channel. If you like the content, click on the like button, share it to your friends and subscribe to our channel, which gives me motivation to make more and more content related to English literature and also the exams related to English literature. Yes, as we move forward, sonnet. The first type of poetry, that is sonnet. Here we have the definition, example and the major proponents of that form and period and invented by. Yes, here you can see the sonnet. Sonnet is nothing but a 14-line poem with a specific rhyme scheme, typically written in iambic pentameter. Yes, as we all know, sonnet is a 14-line poem. Yes, this is the repeated questions in most of the exams related to English literature. Sonnet is dash line poem. They'll give you options like 10 line, 5 line, 6 line, 14 line. So the answer is 14 line poem, and typically it is written in iambic pentameter. So the rhyme scheme here is iambic pentameter. And the example for sonnet is William Shakespeare's Sonnet 18. Yes, here I am giving you a small task. How many sonnets were written by William Shakespeare? In his lifetime, William Shakespeare contributed to English literature a lot. He wrote tragedy plays, comedy plays, tragedy comedy plays, tragicomedy plays, and also he wrote sonnets and epic poems. So here the question is that how many sonnets were written by William Shakespeare? Comment your answer in the comment box. And the major proponents of sonnet form are William Shakespeare, Petrarch, and John Donne. Apart from these, there are many poets who used this form to write their poetry. And it was popularized during Renaissance period, that is 14th century to 17th century, which means 14th, 15th, 16th and 17th century. Sonnet was the major form of poetry during Renaissance period, which is between 14th to 17th centuries. And sonnet type was invented by Italian poet Giacomo da Lentini, who belongs to 13th century, who belongs to Italy, Italian literature. He is the Italian poet Giacomo da Lentini. Yes, we can expect the questions on during which period sonnet became very popular in English literature. And also you can get a question on who invented the form of sonnet, the form of poetry which is sonnet. And the answer is Giacomo da Lentini. And this is all about sonnet. As we move forward, the second type, which is ode. Ode is a poem that expresses praise or admiration for a person, place, or a thing. Yes, ode is nothing but a poem which expresses praise or admiration. Yes, it is related to praise and admiration. If a poet wants to admire a person, a place, or a thing, or if he wants to praise that person or place or thing, he uses the form that is ode. Yes, any prose poetry, prose poems, or admiration poems comes under ode. And the example is John Keats. John Keats' Ode to a Nightingale. Yes, in the name itself, in the poem's title itself, it is saying that ode to a nightingale, in praise or in admiration of a nightingale, which is Ode to Nightingale, written by John Keats, is the best example for ode. And the major proponents are Pindar, Horace, John Keats, and Shelley, P.B. Shelley, which is Percy Bysshe Shelley. So these are the major proponents. When it comes to period, when it comes to overall literature, during ancient Greek, which is during 5th century BCE, this was invented and this became popular during ancient Greek. When it comes to English literature, particularly about English literature, it became popular during English Romanticism, that is during 19th century. Yes, ode became popular during English Romanticism, that is 19th century. Yes, here you can expect a question on ode again. During which period ode became popular? That is English Romanticism, that is 19th century. And also you can expect the question on the definition of it. Yes, dash is a poem that expresses praise or admiration for a person, place, or thing. And the answer is ode. And also it is invented by ancient Greeks, especially the ancient Greek poet Pindar. Ode was invented by Pindar. You can also expect the question on the invention of ode. Who invented this form of poetry, that is ode? And the answer is Pindar. As we move forward, ballad. Ballad is nothing but, when it comes to its definition, it is a narrative poem with a folkloric or legendary theme, often with a musical quality. Yes, ballad is a narrative poem. In that narrative poem, which has the characteristic of folklore, and also it talks about a legendary theme, and it often contains a musical quality. And when it comes to the example, Sir Patrick Spence, which is a traditional Scottish ballad. Here I am giving you a task again. Who is the author of Sir Patrick Spence? Yes. Who is the author of the ballad Sir Patrick Spence? When it comes to its major proponents, Coleridge, S.T. Coleridge, that is Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and John Keats and William Wordsworth. These are the major proponents of this ballad type of poetry. And when it comes to its period, when it comes to overall literature, it belongs to medieval period, which is during 12th to 15th centuries. When it comes to particularly English literature, during Romanticism, ballad, the type of poetry which became very popular, which is between 18th and 19th centuries, and which is invented by medieval French and Italian poets. Yes, during 12th century, it was ballad is invented by medieval French and in Italian poets. And here you will get the question again, during which period ode became very popular, which is Romanticism. And the next type, that is free verse. Free verse, a poem that doesn't follow a specific rhyme or meter, often using enjambment and imagery. Yes, here free verse is a poem which doesn't follow any rules, which is out of rules. That's why it is called as free verse, which is written in a freestyle without using any rhyme scheme, without using any rules. But they use enjambment and imagery in this form of poetry, that is free verse. And the example is Walt Whitman's magnum opus, Leaves of Grass. Yes, Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass is the major example for free verse. When it comes to major proponents, Walt Whitman, Emily Dickinson, and T.S. Eliot. Yes, this is very popular during the free verse is a form of poetry which is popular among the poets of American literature, especially the poets related to America. So Walt Whitman, Emily Dickinson, T.S. Eliot are the major proponents of this form of poetry, that is free verse. And here you can see the period. It became popular during 19th and 20th centuries, and which is invented by 19th century American poets Walt Whitman and Emily Dickinson. Yes, here you will get a question again on the invention of the free verse, which is a form of poetry. Yes, you will get a question like this: who invented free verse, the type of poetry free verse? And the answer is Walt Whitman and Emily Dickinson. Yes. And also you will get a question on American literature also. Which country poets are the reason behind the invention of free verse poetry? And the answer is American poets. And also you will get a question on Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass is dash type of poetry. And the options are free verse, ballad, ode, elegy. And the answer is free verse. This is all about free verse. As we move forward, haiku. Haiku, this is another important form which is invented by the Japanese poets. When it comes to its definition, a short 3-line poem originating from Japan, typically capturing a moment in time of feeling. Yes, haiku is nothing but a 3-line poem, which is very important. Write down these details haiku is nothing but 3-line poem which is originated in Japan and typically talks about a moment in time or a feeling. You will get a question like this. Haiku is a dash line poem. And the options are 4 lines, 6 lines, 14 lines and 3 lines. So the answer is 3-line poem. And also you will get a question on the origination of this haiku, this form of poetry. Yes, haiku is originated in which country or in which literature? And the options are Japan, that is Japanese literature, American literature, English literature, England, English literature, Scotland. And the option is Japanese literature or Japan. Haiku originated in Japan. And the example for this type and form of poetry is Matsuo Basho's Furuke Ya. This is a Japanese poem which is the best example for haiku. Matsuo Basho is the famous Japanese poet. And the major proponents are Matsuo Basho, Yosa Buson, Issa. These are the major proponents of haiku. When it comes to period, it was invented during Edo period and which is popular during Edo period. Edo period is related to Japanese literature and that Edo period is during 17th and 19th century, 17th, 18th and 19th century in Japanese literature, and which is invented by Japanese poets Matsuo Basho. Yes, don't think that this is Japanese form of poetry, it is nowhere related to English literature. No, English literature expanded its wings to every country and every form of poetry which is existing relates to English literature. So you will get a question on haiku's lines, 3-line poem, origination, that is originated in Japan, and also the major proponents. And also you will get a question on who invented haiku. Haiku is invented by Japanese poets, especially Matsuo Basho. And the next form of poetry, that is tanka. Tanka is a short 5-line poem originating from Japan, typically capturing a moment in time or feeling. Yes, tanka is again a Japanese poem which is 5-line. Yes, the difference between haiku and tanka is that haiku is a 5-line poem, haiku is a 3-line poem, and tanka is a 5-line poem. And the example, they originated both the forms. Haiku and tanka originated in Japan, that is Japanese literature. And the example is Kino Surayuki's Snowflakes Falling. Yes, this is the best example for tanka. Kino Surayuki's Snowflakes Falling. And the major proponents of tanka are Kino Surayuki, Fujiwara no Teika. These are the major proponents. And tanka became popular during Heian period in Japanese literature, which is from 9th to 12th centuries, which means 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th centuries, which is invented by Japanese poets, particularly Kino Surayuki. Haiku is originated or invented during Edo period, and tanka is originated during Heian period, that is 19th to 12th centuries. Haiku is invented by Matsuo Basho, who is a Japanese poet, and tanka is invented by Kino Surayuki, who is also a Japanese poet. Haiku is a 3-line poem and tanka is a 5-line poem. And both the forms are originated in Japan. And the next form of poetry, that is ghazal. Ghazal is a poem that explores theme of love, spirituality, social issues, and typically it is written in couplets. Couplets is nothing but two lines, consequent two lines are called as couplets. So Ghazal is written in couplet form, which the themes, major themes of the ghazal are love, spirituality, and social issues. When it comes to the example, Mirza Ghalib's ghazal. Mirza Ghalib's ghazal 1 is the famous example for ghazal. And the major proponents are Rumi, Hafiz, Mirza Ghalib. When it comes to the periods, it became popular during 7th to 14th centuries in Persia and 18th to 19th centuries in India. After the kings, after the emperors of Mughal and other kingdoms, when they conquered India, the poets started using this form of poetry in India. That's when it was introduced in India during 18th and 19th centuries, and it is invented by Persian poets, especially Rumi and Hafiz. So this is all about ghazal and elegy, which is one of the greatest forms of expressing our sorrow, expressing our loss, expressing our mourning to a person, which is very important when it comes to exams related to English literature. Elegy is a poem that mourns the loss of loss of someone or something, often with a reflective or philosophical tone. Yes, elegy is nothing but a sad poem which is expressing our sorrow, expressing our sadness related to the loss of our loved one, loss of any person. And the example is John Milton's Lycidas. Yes, in English literature, John Milton's Lycidas is one of the greatest elegies. And also Walt Whitman also wrote elegies on Abraham Lincoln. Here I am giving you two tasks. One is John Milton's elegy Lycidas is about whom? Yes, John Milton wrote Lycidas to mourn, to express the loss of his friend. Yes. So here I want you to find the name of that friend and write it in the comment box. And the second question, Walt Whitman wrote When Lilacs Last in the Dooryard Bloomed, and also he wrote another poem, O Captain, My Captain. Walt Whitman's these two poems are elegies, and these are written in the remembrance of, in the loss of which person? Yes, let me know in the comment box. Yes. When it comes to major proponents of this form of poetry, that is elegy, John Milton, Thomas Gray, and Shelley, especially Shelley's Adonais is the best example for elegy. When it comes to its period, when it comes to oral literature, it was popular during ancient Greek, that is 5th century. When it comes to English literature, it is popular during Renaissance period in English literature, that is English Renaissance during 17th century, and which is invented by, elegy is a form of poetry which was invented by ancient Greek poets, especially Theocritus and beyond. So you will get a question exclusively on elegies. So give more importance to the form of poetry that is elegy. You will get number of questions on elegies, especially the writers like John Milton, Thomas Gray, P.B. Shelley. When it comes to American literature, Walt Whitman. As we move forward, the next type, that is pastoral elegy. Yes, pastoral is a poem that idealizes rural life and nature, often with a focus on the relationship between humans and the environment. Yes, pastoral poems. The setting of these poems are nothing but rural life, that is village life, and also nature. Yes, and which focuses more on the relationship between the humans and the surrounding environment. And the example is Virgil's Eclogues, which is the famous example. Eclogues written by Virgil are the best example for pastoral poems. And the major proponents are Virgil, Theocritus, and Spenser. Edmund Spenser is the major proponent of this pastoral poetry and also pastoral elegies in English literature. When it comes to its period, when it comes to overall literature, ancient Greek, 3rd century. When it comes to English literature, Renaissance, during 16th to 17th centuries, it became very popular, especially by Edmund Spenser. You will get a question again on during which period in English literature pastoral became very popular and who are the major proponents. You'll get the questions like this. When it comes to its period, that is English Renaissance period, which is between 6th to 16th to 17th centuries. When it comes to the major proponents, Edmund Spenser is the major proponent in English literature, and which is invented by ancient Greeks, especially Theocritus. Theocritus invented pastoral form. And the 10th type, that is satire, satirical poem. A poem that uses humor, irony, ridicule to critique society or individuals. Yes, this form of poetry, satire, is used to express humor, irony, and ridicule any concept or anything in the society, to ridicule any person or any tradition. The poets used satire poem as a form to express their critique. When it comes to the best example, the famous example is Alexander Pope's The Rape of the Lock. Yes, in that he critiqued the society of his period. He critiqued the woman about his lock, about her hair, and he also critiques so many things related to the people of that period. In that poem, he satirizes so many things about the society of his period, of his contemporary period, which is based on the real life incident. So give more focus to the satire, especially to Alexander Pope's The Rape of the Lock. You'll get number of questions on The Rape of the Lock in each and every exam related to English literature. Yes, I can say that there is no question paper without the question on Alexander Pope, especially The Rape of the Lock. Yes, which is very popular, which is a must-read poem. So it's better to read this poem, The Rape of the Lock. And again here I am giving you the task, The Rape of the Lock. Alexander Pope's The Rape of the Lock was published in dash year. Yes. Write the year, find the year and write it in the comment box. You will definitely get the question on the publication date of The Rape of the Lock. And when it comes to major proponents, Juvenal, Horace, and Pope and Swift. Yes. When it comes to English literature, Alexander Pope and Jonathan Swift, these two are the major writers who used satire as the form of poetry in their poems. And when it comes to period, ancient Roman period, during 1st century CE, it was introduced and it was popular during ancient Roman period. But in the English literature, yes, during Augustan period, the poets that is during 18th century, the poets imitated the writers of Augustan period in Roman literature. So they imitated the style of Juvenal and Horace. That's why it it was introduced into English literature during 18th century, that is during Augustan period. Augustan period is also known as age of Pope, because Pope is the major poet, major writer during Augustan period, that is 18th century. And it was invented by ancient Romans, especially Juvenal and Horace. Yes, this is the 10th type of poetry, that is satire. Yes, this is all about this video. In this video we discussed about 10 types of poetries, that is sonnet, ode, ballad, free verse, haiku, tanka, ghazal, elegy, pastoral, and satire. Yes, in our next video we are going to discuss about the remaining types and forms of poetry. We are going to start with limerick, and it is going to end with the last type, that is mask. Yes, in our next video we are going to discuss the remaining types and forms of poetry. Yes, if you like the video, click on the like button, share it to your friends, and subscribe to our channel. For more latest updates on English literature, subscribe to our channel. Here I'm going to tell you about our channel. Our channel is exclusively dedicated to English literature and English. If you are serious towards your success in English literature field, subscribe to our channel. Our channel is going to help you in many ways. You'll get the notifications related, you will get the updates related to the jobs and entrance exams related to English and English literature. For more interesting updates, subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.